Hey everybody, Drilling in the Name of here, and by now we're about a month and a half into Season 5 of Deep Rock Galactic. One of the biggest game changers for this update has been brand new overclocks for each of our primary weapons, one of which has been getting a bit of attention lately. I recently got a DM from MeatShield, who is Deep Rock's resident weapons expert, where he explained just how incredibly powerful conductive thermals can be. Now he had already done a bunch of testing and crunched all the numbers for us, so all Muss and I had to do was load out our weapons and see what all the fuss is about. To start, I'm going to show some clips of our initial reactions to conductive thermals paired with Ice Storm, and then talk briefly about what exactly is happening. Then we'll test out some other weapon synergies, show how much damage this can do to Deep Rock's most powerful enemies, and in the end, team up with MeatShield to see just how badly we can break this mechanic.
Oh, it did delete that,
Yeah, this is working pretty well.
tail.
Oh, we should test a bunker with this.
Oh, yeah. I guess...
Wow. Yeah, this is going them very fast.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
It really does just literally delete them. That's interesting.
Perfect. Wow. That's pretty nuts.
Okay, that was pretty awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. Now I'm gonna... Oh, look at that! Yeah, it definitely it feels like I'm keeping these on fire for longer. That was pretty good.
That was really good. Uh-oh.
Get in there! Yeah! Yeah, it's very powerful.
Yeah. Damn.
Wow, and I didn't even hit that many times. Oh, yeah, you can see the numbers go up when I apply more stacks to the goo bomber. So it's taking more fire damage while it's on fire. Pretty sweet.
I want to see how much cryo ammo it takes me. Jesus, that's crazy.
Man, yeah.
I used, what, 58? 58 cryo on that?
Conductive thermals with Ice Storm is the combo MeatShield was most excited about, and you could probably see why. We were doing massive chunk damage to everything, and this was Has5+ with a +1 to each modifier. So why is this so powerful? As MeatShield explains it, CT applies two debuffs, the first being a 0.95 multiplier to ignite temperature, douse temperature, freeze temperature, and unfreeze temperature, and it can be applied a maximum of 30 times. What's really interesting about this debuff is it can permanently reduce a Dreadnought's ignite temperature from 1000 to 100, making it incredibly easy to light on fire. The second debuff is a stack that reduces an enemy's elemental resistance to fire, frost, and electric by 5%. And the reason this can result in so much damage is there's currently no cap to the amount of stacks you can apply within that 10-second window. And because there's no cap, you can even use this to convert resistances into vulnerabilities. As MeatShield put it, an oppressor with 66% resistance to fire would only require 14 stacks of CT to convert to a 4% vulnerability. What makes things even more interesting is Tier 4B of the Drac is 50% fire element, meaning the Drac itself can take advantage of the elemental damage boost. On top of that, it deals both direct damage and area damage, which applies stacks separately, effectively doubling your stacks if you hit an enemy with both. Alright, that's enough numbers for now. Let's take a look at some clips of how conductive thermals works with other weapons.
Ready? Yep.
Wow, yeah, it takes so much more fire damage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow! Jesus.
I just did 2,000 with each one of those.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Rock and roll and stone.
Oh, volatile bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the second shot does more because you've stacked it more. I'll let you stack some.
Go for it.
Well, that's pretty nuts.
So obviously there's a lot of ways to combo CT with the rest of your team, but what if you're a solo scout? Well, for starters, both Mus and I were surprised by how strong the Drac felt on its own, probably because of Tier 4B interacting with the elemental damage boosts. But the nice thing about Scout is there are plenty of options you can combo with CT yourself. The Bolt Shark with its Cryo, Taser, and Fire Bolts, Zukovs with Conductive Bullets, the Boomstick with White Phosphorus Shells, and the Voltaic Stun Sweeper can all be used in conjunction with Conductive Thermals. Here's a few examples of me doing big damage on my own.
On ready. Heads up. On ready. Bring it bigger.
In that last clip, you can see how easy it was to ignite the Dreadnought with its reduced ignite temperature. Here you can see the Boomstick is barely applying heat at all, but after applying CT stacks, it ignites with one shot. You can also use this on enemies that normally require 2 cryo grenades to freeze. Alright, so this is obviously both a powerful and versatile overclock. At this point I thought about just showing more clips of us absolutely obliterating more bugs, but we have bigger fleas to fry. If you were paying close enough attention to the clip of Mus shooting the bulk with a volatile bullet shot, you'd see it did a massive 2,893.3 damage. I thought that was pretty nuts, so I messaged MeatShield and he responded with this. Apparently he'd already calculated what he believed to be the max amount of damage you could inflict based on the max number of stacks you could apply within that 10-second window, and it looks like this. It's over 9,000. Well, obviously we had to test this out, but there was one problem. The damage text mod is limited by the HP of the enemy you're attacking, so if a grunt has 10 HP left and you do 20 damage to it, damage text will show it as 10 damage. Thankfully, MeatShield has access to a private mod that shows total damage per attack, so we met up with him in the sandbox utilities room. Now the methodology got a little complicated, but here's how we conducted our tests. First, we loaded in on Has-5 with a +2 to the tough enemies modifier. Mus and I brought 3 scouts to pile on as many CT stacks as possible, and MeatShield brought his gunner to deliver the volatile bullets shot. We chose an elite bulk detonator as our target, A, to have a weak point to fire the final shot at, and B, to make sure it had enough HP to withstand 10 seconds of stacks, but here's where it got a little complicated. Tier 4B was popping the weak points with its radial damage, so we had to remove Tier 4 from all of our Dracs. The bulk also had to be on fire to take advantage of the 3x damage from volatile bullets. And MeatShield hypothesized that to get the max number of stacks, we had to keep the Drac between 50 and 100% heat to max out the rate of fire. Now for me that was fairly easy because I was just controlling 1 scout, but Mus was controlling 2, which made keeping his Dracs in that range a lot more difficult. Alright, so to bring it all together, Mus and I would each fire 1 fire bolt into the bulk and then swap to our Dracs. MeatShield would start a timer and count down from 10 while we fired CT with all 3 of our scouts. Finally, MeatShield would fire a volatile bullet shot at the bulk's weak point. This was obviously a lot to manage, so after a few missed cues and Drac overheats, here's a look at our first truly successful test.
I was born ready.
2, 1.
It's overheated.
Pretty crazy. But as excited as we all were to see such a massive number in DRG, it just wasn't over 9,000. But after concluding that it likely wasn't possible without Tier 4B, MeatShield had a light bulb moment. IFGs! So to complicate things even further, I now had to throw an IFG 7 seconds into the test to give it time to open. Let's take a look.
Start your firebolts now. Three, 2, 1.
It's over 9,000! At this point, MeatShield was completely satisfied with our testing because there's no way we could possibly beat 11,275 damage, right? Wrong! The next day, Must shared some additional testing using Split Central's Actor Monitor mod. This led MeatShield to use that same mod to do even more testing, which led him to find that firing the Drac all the way up to 99% heat and then letting it cool off completely applies way more stacks than trying to keep it in that 50 to 99% range. Unfortunately, at this point, Muss wasn't around, but MeatShield's friend Lunari happened to be online and willing to help, so it was back to the testing room. Using that first methodology with the new Drac firing method, here's what happened.
Alright, 3, 2, 1.
20,005 damage. Now obviously that is an incredible result. We achieved our goal and we did it without cheating with an IFG. Now it's time to cheat.
Alright, firebolts, go!
Weapon ready.
3, 2, 1.
25,326. At this point we were pretty certain that amount of damage had never been done in a single attack in Deep Rock, but we were drunk on bloodlust and we needed more. While we were chatting between tests, Lunari just casually typed, "Hey, what about Marked for Death?" Duh. So the final test was on, to see if we could top ourselves for the most damage ever done in Deep Rock Galactic. Lunari and I each fired our firebolts, laid on the CT stacks with our 3 scouts. With 3 seconds remaining, I threw an IFG, Lunari swapped loadouts to the M1000 and fired a Mark for Death shot, and...
33,000.
33,126 damage. This was a truly incredible result, and we're genuinely curious if it's ever been topped. So Mike, if you or anyone else in the office happens to be watching this, please let us know if you've ever been able to do this much damage before, because we really want to know. In the meantime, I have to thank a bunch of people for making this video possible. First of all, a huge thank you to MeatShield for approaching us with this idea, for doing all the math ahead of time, and for joining us in the space rig for all that testing. He also wanted to make sure I thank Lazy Maybe and Split Central for figuring out parts of conductive thermals that helped his work, and of course Split Central again for the Actor Monitor mod. Thank you as well to Lunari for helping with those final tests, and last but not least, a thank you to Miss Nothis for doing a ton of filming with me for this video. If you're still watching, get out of here and go try this for yourself. But in all seriousness, this likely won't be this way for much longer. As far as I know, Ghost Ship is back from their summer break and moving into their new offices, so they're probably going to patch this sometime soon, I'd imagine with a cap on total stacks. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, please like and subscribe if you feel so inclined, and as always, rock and stone, brothers and sisters.